Despite the shock of losing an inspirational leader, the club would stay in the top league for another 34 years, and they made further improvements to the ground in 1968, although they hadn't planned to before a fire gutted the main stand.
During that first season in the First Division, in March there was a major fire at the stadium, and the main stand, the 1936 main stand, was burnt down, or substantially burnt down, after a fire. Now the fire was caused by, there was a reserve game on one evening, and the theory is that a lighted cigarette fell down between the wooden seats and burnt the rubbish that had accumulated over many years and created quite a big fire.
The difficulty was underneath the stand was a suite of offices, storerooms and so on, and the fire had started there and spread up into the stand. So we had to get into the stand itself and tackle the fire, which was very difficult. It was a bit of a wreck. The main damage you could see from where we were the seating area. Around about a third to a half of the seating area was destroyed. And of course all the offices and storerooms underneath the stand as well was destroyed. One of the members of staff did come up to us during the fire and want to know if any of the cups had been destroyed, and we said no, the fire hadn't reached the kitchen.
The problem was, in 10 days' time, they had Manchester United arriving for one of the biggest games in the club's history. And somehow they managed to patch up with some scaffolding and what have you, patch up that stand so that the patrons could be seated. And 10 days later they had 47,000 in the ground, the second biggest gate in the club's history.
When I first arrived, of course there was just a blank space there where the stand had been, and so my first 2 weeks there with the agency, worked in a caravan in front of the sky blue stand, because of course there was no office space. But then when I went back on a full-time basis, we had a house at the end of King Richard Street. I started off in a bedroom, and then I moved down to the kitchen, where Neil's office was, Neil Solomon's office, and from there watched the new stand going up.
That summer they decided to demolish the remainder of the stand and rebuild a new main stand. Again, they did it over the close season, and it was ready. I think they had to postpone 2 home games, to enable the stand to be finished.
Oh, it was amazing, yes. I mean, you used to arrive in the morning and there was a little bit more added to it, and in no time at all it was finished. It was wonderful. And to actually then move into proper offices after being in a caravan and a little house, it was just wonderful. There was so much space we didn't know what to do with ourselves.